American tourists Anthony Sadler, Alex Skarlatos, and Spencer Stone boarded a train from Brussels to Paris on August 21, 2015. A heavily armed ISIS terrorist named Ayoub el-Khazzani was also on board. But when Khazzani began to carry out his attack, he ran straight into the three Americans who jumped into action, risking their lives to disarm and subdue Khazzani and saving hundreds of lives in the process. They tell their story in a new book, The 1517 to Paris, the true story of a terrorist, a train, and three American heroes.
Well, this is a gripping thriller, The 1517 to Paris. It's told in sort of real-time stream of consciousness kind of writing, and it's a real good read. I recommend it to you. But two of these three American heroes, Anthony Sadler and Spencer Stone, are here with us right now. Alex Skarlatos is off on military training, and he couldn't be here today. But gentlemen, we welcome you to the 700 Club. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
You guys were on vacation, and it's pretty in Europe, and you're traveling. You probably had a Euro-rail pass, and you're coming down from Amsterdam to Paris, right?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Definitely.
Well, what happened? You're there chatting and eating snacks and what have you.
So actually, me and Anthony were both asleep at the time.
You were asleep?
We were both asleep, yeah. We just tried to catch some rest in between each travel day. And we were woken up by the commotion of a train employee running past us, and that we were kind of wondering what was going on. I saw Alec, he was looking to the back of the train, and I took my headphones off. I hear people screaming, glass breaking. I turn around, and first thing I see is a guy coming through the door. He's shirtless. He has a backpack strapped to the front of him full of ammunition, and he's bending down, picking up an AK-47. And loading around in the chamber, and that's when we kind of knew.
He had a vest on with extra ammunition, extra clips.
Not a vest, just like a backpack that he kind of used in place of a.
But loaded with clips. I mean, he had a full supply.
Almost 300 rounds.
300 rounds.
Yes, sir.
So, what'd you guys? Did you talk about it, think about it, pray about it? What'd you do?
There was no time to talk about it. Basically, as Spencer said, the train employee sprinted by us, and we turned around to see what he's sprinting from, and the first image we see is the gunman, and he's loading around. So we figure he's about to start shooting, and within seconds, Spencer gets up out of his seat and charges him, and then me and Alec just follow suit.
Are you guys military? Were you in combat, or have you had experience?
Actually, I'm in the Air Force, and I've never deployed. I was in the Azores, and that was more of a vacation tour than anything.
So you weren't an infantry fighter. You were a flyboy.
No, exactly. Well, I've been working in a pediatric clinic for almost 3 years now.
Pediatric clinic. Well, that isn't hero
not exactly
stuff.
Combat oriented.
No. How about you?
Yeah, I'm a no military experience. I'm a senior at Sacramento State University. So people often think we're like these combat veterans, but we've never seen anything like that before.
Well, I mean, this guy's got a gun. He's got an AK-47 or whatever, and he's got extra clips, and he can really blow you away. Did you want to take him on? Were you scared? Or what went through your mind?
I mean, I think fear was there for everybody.
Sure.
But, in that situation, we're in a high-speed train. There's nowhere to go. We're sardines in there. And really, in my mind at the time, there was only two options. I was going to die sitting down, or I was going to die on my feet. And so I just took a shot in the dark. I'm kind of knowledgeable about weapons. I own a few myself, and I realized he hadn't started shooting yet. There must be something going on. He looked frantic. He was kind of panicking for a second, trying to get his gun working. So I said, now's our opportunity. We got to go now, or we're going to probably die.
This was a lone gunman. He didn't have anybody with him, huh?
Yeah.
Luckily for us, he didn't have anybody with him.
Would you grab him? Did you tackle him?
So I tackled him. He hit me across the face with the gun when I tackled him, so that kind of blinded me in one eye. It wasn't a great way to start the fight.
Yeah.
One eye blind, and then got to wrestle him with him a little bit. I do jiu-jitsu, so I put him in a rear naked choke. He started to cut the back of my neck with a box cutter, cut my left thumb down to the bone, severed my tendon and nerve. Alec and Anthony ran up and took the AK, started to hit him with that. Eventually, throughout the scuffle, I was able to choke him unconscious, though.
Was he unconscious? You knocked him out?
Yes, sir.
Good for you.
Felt good.
What were the other passengers doing? They were on
we couldn't even tell you. Luckily, it was a small train, so only there was room for us three and the gunman, and then luckily for us, a fourth passenger came up after Spencer had choked him unconscious, and he came with neckties, and that's actually how we ended up tying him up. So we couldn't tell you what the other passengers were doing, but we're thankful that the fourth gentleman, Chris Norman, came up and helped us tie him up, definitely.
Well, If you hadn't gotten him, the estimate is that he could have killed as many as 500 people on that train. Am I right in that?
Possibly.
Yeah.
That would have been a slaughter of unimaginable proportions.
Exactly.
And you stopped him. Well, what happened? You had one of your guys that really got shot, though. What happened?
Yeah, there was a passenger, Mark McGallion. He was actually involved in a scuffle before we even knew what was going on near the bathroom. And he was able to actually take the AK-47 from the man and come into our train car. And then he was shot in the back, and the bullet ricocheted through his rib cage, broke 2 of his ribs, collapsed his left lung, and then flew out of his neck and severed his carotid artery. And as soon as I was done choking out the terrorist, I look over my seat and I kind of see him collapsing to the floor. And I'm a medic, so I know what's going on. Even though I'm in a pediatric clinic, I still know how the body works. So I went over and I saw that there was some pressure behind the wound in his neck, so I immediately knew it was his carotid artery. And then I stuck my fingers in his neck, and I could feel it pulsating. I just pressed
Carotid
down.
is a big deal. I mean, that
Huge
thing is,
deal.
well, you haven't got but just a few minutes, or not even, maybe
And
seconds.
By the time we noticed him, he had already lost a lot of blood. It was starting to pool on the ground. And so we were kind of frantic what to do. And then Spencer came over and plugged it. And then I was trying to go through a first aid kit to see if I could get anything that he needed. And he just kept the fingers in there until paramedics arrived.
With fingers you plugged it?
Yeah, with my non-injured hand, I kind of stuck it in there. I can feel it pulsating. But even though I was able to stop the bleeding, he had lost so much blood by that point, I didn't think he was going to make it anyway. So I actually asked him, do you want to say a prayer with me? And he told me no. And then and then Anthony was standing over me and he said, just do it anyway, Spencer. And then I kind of was down with him, and I said a quick little prayer. And it's funny, actually, I got stabbed again in Sacramento about a month and a half later. And he sent me a text message when I was in the ICU, and saying, "Hey, the world needs you. Stick around. Like, I really hope you're doing okay." And then he brought up the moment where I asked him to pray, and he said, "I didn't want to then, but I would love to now." So that was just a good feeling.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
Well, when it was, you were still, they didn't stop the train. The train's rushing down the tracks, and all this is going on. Was there a conductor or any officials that come to your aid at all?
We didn't see any employees the whole time. The only employee we witnessed was when he sprinted by us, and that commotion kind of woke us up. Other than that, we didn't see any employees. And then the train pulled in the station. It took about 30 minutes, and then once we did, it was just paramedics and tons of police personnel. We didn't see any employees after that.
Well, the guy that had been wounded, he survived, though. He should have died, but he didn't. Because of your accident. If you let him bleed another 10 minutes, 5 minutes, he'd have died, right?
Probably seconds.
Probably seconds.
He had lost so much blood.
The flow was pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you got off the train and suddenly you're a hero? Or what happened?
Yeah, I was actually in the hospital. They had already kind of knew the initial buzz of everything, but I was just, no one spoke English around me for at least 8 hours. I just saw myself on television, and I was like, oh wow, I'm on TV, this is a big deal. But then I didn't realize the magnitude of it until the embassy personnel got there, and the first thing they said is the president's going to be on the phone in 15 minutes. And I said, oh my gosh, okay. Wow, this is serious.
So you're American heroes. Well, we feel it. Well, what are you guys doing now? Did you get any movie contracts out of this?
Well, we just released the book. We hope that does well, and then if a movie's made in the future, that'd be a blessing for sure.
It was a tremendously exciting thing. But I mean, when it was all finished, were you kind of like let down? Like, okay, I've had all this adrenaline, and now I'm exhausted or scared?
We've laughed about it for sure. He was in the hospital for about the first 24 hours, and then me and Alec finally got to reunite with him after a day or so. And then when we all got in the car, we just laughed for about 10 minutes, like, no way this happened to us.
Yeah. It's remarkable.
It's pretty comical in hindsight afterward.
Well, I mean, I've been to Europe and other places, and you're just riding along, and you're just trying to chill out and have a good time, and then all of a sudden something like this happened. The fact that you guys could do it, most people wouldn't respond. They wouldn't have known what to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think, at least for me, it made it a lot easier just because we only had 2 options, die or do something.
But and then also die or die, depending.
Yeah, die or die. How did I want to die?
Basically.
But I also, I had the confidence, I guess you could say, because of my training and just being in the military. I just knew that if I could make it to him, that I could have a chance if I could just get up in his face, and maybe I could postpone him and help other people.
Fantastic. Well, I just am grateful for your action. And ladies and gentlemen, this book, now, did it just come out? I mean, has it just been published?
Just been published a couple days ago. It just released, actually.
On the 23rd.
The 15/17 to Paris. It's a tremendous documentary. You need to get it. And you can find it wherever books are sold. And so these guys are heroes. I mean, ordinary heroes, but what would you do? I mean, I think that's the question you ask yourself. What would you do if a terrorist was coming down? Would you hide? Would you run away? Would you? Apparently, the employee of the railroad ran away. Is that what you're telling me? He got out of there.
Yeah, he was the signal at least. So thank God for him at least.
Like that Greek captain of that ship, he beaches the cruise ship and then he jumps off and leaves the passengers. Great work. God bless you. Well, are you, either of you in the service now? Are you out of the service?
I'm still in the Air Force, but I'm on leave right now. But I'll actually be getting out in 3 months, and then I'll be heading to school next year.
Where are you going?
Hopefully to San Diego State.
To do what?
International security and conflict resolution. So I think it might be a little fitting path for myself.
I think you'll be the principal lecturer. Well, anyhow, God bless you both. It's good to see you. Thank you, and congratulations.
Thanks, sir.